The final question which I want to put to you has come from online, and I think it's a good one to finish with. And I'll ask each of you to have a crack at it for a couple of minutes, starting with Tariq and moving up the table, and finishing, therefore, with Dr. Zerbo. And the question is simply, what opportunities are there to find ways of promoting the implementation of the treaty? What opportunities do you see? So this is distinctly away from the bleakness of the vision that too many of us, I think, carry into this question the whole time. What are the opportunities that are there? Beginning, Tariq.
Well, I tend to be one of those who think that the glass, unfortunately, is half empty rather than half full, and there are very few opportunities since we are not seeing what Lucina described as this combination of coherence as well as focus. And so if we did have coherence, one would look at non-proliferation and disarmament in the nuclear field in a holistic manner, encourage those states that are already in the middle of unrestricted nuclear arms races or have not disrespectful.
Before, we have to continue to talk about it, and we have to talk to those that have not ratified what the consequences might be if they do not do so. But I also think we have to rely on the civil society organizations and the public opinions, because if they were to focus on this issue, it could have quite a good impact. I think we have seen this in the past. I know that the civil society organizations are presently quite focused on the ban negotiations, but I think they could go hand in hand, and that could also be added on the importance of ratifying the CTBT. Thank you.
Hans.
Well, one of the reasons why it hasn't moved forward, I think, is the feeling that it hasn't been so urgent. We don't have any tests apart from the North Koreans, and we don't expect the French or the Brits, or not Americans at the present time, to do so. But my idea with injecting North Korea into this is that North Korea brings really an urgency into a solution, into getting their consent, and I see the CTBT as a way of doing that. And I think that when you mentioned China, Dan, that was a very good point. No country could be more interested in the North Koreans abandoning the nuclear weapons course than China, because they want to have peace there. And when you say that European Union and China could have a dialogue, I think this would be an excellent subject for the dialogue between the European Union and China. How can China take a step suggesting to the United States that if you and we together, and I think the US is also interested in China joining the NPT, joining the CTBT, because they don't know, they are themselves doing nuclear work, moving forward, and they are worrying now that the Chinese are doing it without them knowing it on the US side. So I think starting with the Chinese, say, you have a tremendous interest here, and it's urgent. Why don't you come up with the idea with the big brother US, say that we too, at any rate, and even better, I think, more psychologically, tactical, would be to say that all the 8 of us, there is no one of the other that has an urgent need for testing. But the Chinese and the US, they have an urgent need. That could add the element that we haven't seen before.
Fantastic, thank you. And last word to Lucina.
Thank you, Dan. Tarek mentioned the glass half empty. You know, even if I understand the logic it put in, I would still go for the glass half full. Because if the glass was, I mean, in my mind, half empty, so I don't think I would even be here to start with. But having talked about the half full glass, I think where I fully agree with Tarek is that we need linkages. And those are the opportunities that remain. If we don't link the CTBT to the issue of North Korea, When we talk about North Korea, we only use the word denuclearization because we want to please some in the international community who are not fully party to this treaty. I think we've lost it. What we have to do, we cannot talk about DPRK testing without talking about the necessity and the urgency of the entry into force of the CTBT. You've asked a question, you say, what can we do to stop? The only way to stop testing once and for all is the entry into force of the CTBT. That would have been the quick and dirty answer. But if we stop linking the CTBT to the issues of nuclear weapon testing, or even, for that matter, nuclear weapon ban, we're not helping the cause of the unfinished business. What we have to do is to make sure we find and keep those linkages so that people see the dangers of nuclear testing to be stopped as a means to push us towards a world free of nuclear weapons, which is all of us. It's our dream. And this is how I see, I think we should talk more and more about it. We should educate more people, because I've seen many people were briefed at the CTBT. They didn't even know how we complement the national technical means of the countries who have the ability to detect potential nuclear test explosion. That's something that we have to talk about. We have a global network, a network that has shown its worth, a network that has proven that the treaty is verifiable. Let's talk more about it. Let's see and show that it's because of this network that we have less tests today than the 2059 that Tarek mentioned. And this network is useful. This network is a product of you all, the international community. We should talk more and more about it, and then see the glass half full as we move to fill it completely and get the treaty into force. Thank you.
Great.